Hey, it's Rich, the Louisiana Hobby Guy. Today we're going to be making something a little bit different. What you see right behind me over here, the Perpetual Calendar. But before we do that, and before we get into this video, I just want to take a moment and thank the people that sent me gifts in the mail this week. And I know I don't mention them as much as I should, so let's jump into it real quick. Behind me, you'll see on the wall back there, I've got a measure twice, cut once plaque. And this came from one of my viewers, Phil. And let me bring up a picture of it real quick because you can't really appreciate what it looks like by it hanging back up there on the wall. But here it is right here. And this is the measure twice, cut once. If you're a woodworker, you've said this saying over and over again to anybody that's been working with you. And he put a nice little message on the back. I just want to say thank you, Phil, for your support. And he also included a very nice donation in with this too. I really appreciate that. It helps the channel to keep going. And I also want to give a shout out to Merrill. You'll see Merrill makes a lot of comments in my videos. Actually goes by the name of Carl. He sent me a Christmas ornament for the Christmas tree. So a big shout out to both Phil and Merrill. Thank you so much for those gifts. I really appreciate it. I get these little gifts in the mail, sometimes big gifts, all the time. And I just forget to mention them in my video. So I wanted to mention that first. But today we're going to be working on the Perpetual Calendar. And here's one right here. And I know you guys have probably seen this before. I've got 3 different styles that I did. And I think the biggest problem, they're all over the internet for, $3 or $4 for the file. And the biggest problem that people have is that these don't turn. And I'm going to show you why these don't turn, because the files that you get on the internet are not created properly. So people are not making these the right way. Mine actually turn. So when you get this file and you make it, you'll be able to change the dates, the day, the month, the year, and you won't have any problem whatsoever with it. I guarantee it, as long as you follow the directions for the file, and you can make these yourself. So let's get started. I'm going to get my face off your screen now. We're going to go into Lightburn, start making this project. And this will be a long one today. I'm letting you know right now. And if you skip over some parts, you're gonna miss out how this actually works and why it doesn't work for other people. So there are 2 little tricks that you have to know in order to make this work. So let's jump over into Lightburn and let's get started with this file. Let's start making it right now. All right, so we're going to do a project now, which is the Perpetual Calendar. And I've got 3mm wood, this one down here. And these are the 4 layers. And fortunately, I have got a new camera to record this with. So it's not a blurry camera anymore, thank goodness. So I will go ahead and make this a little larger so that we can see it better and nice and clear now. And we'll go ahead and frame this. This is on the S30 Pro Max. Sorry about all the noise. It is a very noisy machine. Let me turn on my air extraction. And we'll go ahead and start this job and we'll see what happens. And I do have the air assist on even for the lines. And the reason for that is because I don't want the lens to get dirty. This machine does have the automatic M7, M8 commands, so it turns on the air assist automatically. So we'll go ahead and run this, and I will speed up this video. This will be a one-take video, so I'm going to speed it up, but I'm not going to make any edits to it. So here is layer 1, and we'll go just a little bit faster now. Okay, so that is the end of the first layer. Let me move this camera out of the way for a minute, and let's go ahead and move that laser head out of the way as well. And hopefully I got these settings right. This should fall out. There we go. And we did. So got the settings right first time. This one needs to get popped out. Not a big deal. A couple little anomalies there. But there is the first layer. And we're ready to now move on to the next one. Layer 1 finished. Alright, so now that we've got layer 1 done, I'm going to move that off to the side. And I'm realizing that, or I just realized, that we can get 2 layers on the same board. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to have to do this by hand. So let's go ahead and move it by hand. It should dot right about there. Should be perfect. And it's off just a little bit. Maybe if I give it a little turn, that might be what the problem is. So let's give it a little turn like that. And that looks good. So there we go. That's pretty close. I think I can get just a little closer without going over those lines. Yep, sure can. So that looks good like that. I'm just going to check this side. That looks good like that. And I've got this set to cut the out, engrave these lines so that we know where to glue up the pieces and cut these out over here. So let's take a look at the entire width here. And if we come up into inches, 10.139. So that is good. I'm using a 12-inch piece of wood. Let's give this a frame and see what happens. And let me bring the camera out so that you can see it. I'll put it up here, out of the way. Let's frame this. You can see I'm a little bit off. It's good on the top and the bottom, just a little too far over to the left. So with these selected, what I'll do is I'll just nudge them over and frame it again. And that looks pretty darn close. So I think we're ready to go. I'm just going to check my cuts and layers and make sure that my green layer is above the red layer, which it is. So we're good now. So I'm going to hit the start button, put my glasses on. I don't have this in an enclosure, so but I do have the air extraction on. And here we go. We're going to hit start. Well, I should have put that green layer on offset fill so that it doesn't have to travel so much. But it's okay. By the magic of YouTube, I will go ahead and speed the video up again, and you can see it real quickly. I'll have to be the one to wait. Let me make this window a little bigger first. I don't think that changes the quality, but we'll see. So I'm going to stop this job now, because what I had here wrong was I had the green layer set to fill. So I'm just going to put it in line and restart the job. I'm not too worried about it, the way it burns, because it's going to be glued over. So let's go ahead and restart it. And there we go. So that is our other two pieces. Let me put the camera back over here for a minute. Move the laser out of the way again. I need to set the final position on this. I just haven't done it. Take off these glasses. And let's see what we get. And just about a couple little anomalies right there. And I'm not sure about this one, but hopefully it's going to come right out. Yeah, there we go. Just scratch those off. So here is our base. These are our other pieces here. And it requires a little bit of break-in here, because I do have this set on the maximum speed to cut. So I'm going to lower that a little bit when I create the library so that you don't have to do all this. But this is the base right here. These pieces will get glued into place on here. And those lines, the engraving, is a guide for you to glue these. And that's how this will work. Alright, so now I've brought in the base. I am using 3mm wood. It's 3mm nominal, so it's about 2.95 to all the way up to 3mm. I have 5mm and 6mm down below. You just pick the one that you're using. I'm using the 3mm. And you want to ungroup this now. Come to the top and ungroup it. Select just this one. No, it's still grouped. I don't know why it didn't undo. Oops. Okay, select just that one. And come up here and look at the height. And you see I have this set to 3mm. Well, because mine is 2.95, 2.96. So this is going to be a really tight fit. If it was 3.1 or 3.2, well, then I would have to resize this, just the height. And I'd want to keep that about 0.1 larger than the actual wood itself. And that's so that I get a nice snug fit. So if we come back over here to the camera, I've got it on the laser bed. Let me pull it out again. And there we go. So I'm going to frame this. I think I've got it in the right spot. Let's give it a frame. That looks good right there. And we're just going to hit start on this one. And this is a quick one, so I'll stick with you throughout this. And let me show you I tried to show you on the last one, but my smoke extraction is way back here. Let's see if I can reach with the camera. It's just my hose that's set right there. And I don't know if you can actually see the smoke coming out or not, but all of the smoke, there it is, comes out the back because I've got this particular honeycomb bed. It has, all the sides on this bed are blocked. So basically underneath I've got 3 sides that are standing it up and they're blocked off. So the smoke can only go either up or out the back, and it all goes out the back through that hose. So it keeps the shop nice and smoke-free. All right, let me take off my glasses, get these out of the way. And this is the base. And hopefully this wood is going to fit right in here. I don't like to do dry fits necessarily, but I'm going to do a quick dry fit just to see how this worked out. And hopefully, yep, that's good. Well, it's not really as tight as I want it. I could have gone a little tighter. That's a little bit loose for me. So I may even cut another piece because that is a little bit too loose. It will glue up okay, but I think I'm going to cut another base because that's too loose. Okay, so I have cut out another piece. As you can see, it's a nice fit. You don't want to dry fit these too many times because when you do, it's going to widen up the gap. So I'm just dry fitting it once, and that's it. And I've got the last piece loaded on here, which are the dials, the 3 dials. And I have set this up to go the fastest way possible. So let's go ahead and come over to, well, let me bring the window out again for the camera. Get it up here where you can actually see this. And I'm just going to hit start on the laser. So this is set up to fill each shape individually so that it doesn't scan the entire however many inches it is back and forth. So each different number will be filled individually. And again, I will go ahead and speed this video up so that you can, so we can get through it a little quicker. So here we go. Let's slow this down just a bit for a moment. I'm going to take it out of the holder here and show you the exhaust that I've got set up here. You can see that all of the smoke is going out the back, and I just put some high density foam under 3 sides of this honeycomb grid, and now everything has to come out the back, and it goes right into this hose, which is just a temporary setup, and that goes over to my smoke extraction. You see that it's way up in the front, and all of the smoke is still coming out the back. So this works really well for me when I have to do these review videos, and that's the way that I've got it set up here in the shop, because this one has to be on the workbench. And we're just about finished. And I did set that final return to position. That's the last piece, so I'm going to turn this off. Now some smoke will rise now. And there is our final pieces. Well, there are our final pieces. Let's get them all out and apart. And there we go. These are our 3 final pieces, a little dusting off, and they'll be ready to assemble. Okay, here is the finished product, well, the finished cut and engraved product, and this fits into here, like so. There we go. And that is the finished product right there. I can't let go of it because it's not glued together yet. Let me take this piece off and show you what comes next. So next we have to glue these 3 pieces in place. So actually 4 pieces. So this guy comes out, this guy comes out, and this guy comes out. All 3 of these are going to turn. All 4 of these have to get lined up on their marks like that and glued down. So I will go ahead and glue these into place, and then we'll come back and take a look at the final product. Real simple project to do, simple and fun. So let me go glue these together and we'll be right back. Alright, so if you stayed with me until the end of this video, you'll see I have everything placed in here now, and all you do is simply turn this to change the date, and there is the day. This is the month right here and the day of the week. So why would you need to stay with me? Well, I'll tell you why. Because these are not made from the same wood as these. If I open this up and take one of these out and show you side by side, I don't know if you can quite catch that in the video or not, but this is 2mm wood, this ring, and this
is 3mm wood, which gives you the ability to move this around inside of here. That's kind of hard to move when it's not put together, but there, you get an idea. So this turns freely now, and so do all of the others, because it's a different size wood. Now, if you had not stuck around in the video and you just ran off to get the file, well, I don't know if I'll put it in the file or not, but you may not be able to move the days very well if you use all of the same wood. So, and I don't have this lined up perfectly. There we go. That's better. So now we have a perpetual calendar that will fit right into this base right here. Now, right now I still have to glue up the outside part, and I will go ahead and do that right now and show you the final result. Oh, by the way, one other thing too is, before I glue this piece onto here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wax this on the inside. So I'm going to wax all this up, do a quick sanding on the edges, and then we can be guaranteed. And of course, I still haven't dusted these off yet from the laser, so I have to dust these off so that they're nice and clean. But I'll go ahead and do that and show you the final product. Okay, so here is the final product. And if you're wondering what glue I use Titebond 3. It's a really good all-around glue. It dries, it sets up pretty quickly so that you can, move on with your project. Here is the final result. Now, I did use, if you're looking at the finish on here, that is a walrus oil cutting board wax, and it gives it a beautiful finish without changing the color of the wood, and man, is that smooth. So I wax everything. All of these parts are waxed. This is 2mm wood. As you can see, it's loose in here, so it spins very freely. And if you've seen some of these files on the internet before, you'll find out that the biggest complaint is that they can't move the dials. Well, those weren't made by somebody who knows anything about laser engraving, and unfortunately a lot of people lose a lot of money because of it. But these move so beautifully in here, you'll have no problem moving them around and setting the date, and you have your perpetual calendar. And I just love the finish that the walrus oil gives to a piece of wood. It really makes it pop, makes it come out beautiful. A lot of the wood that I do, I don't use finishing products. Shellac is one of my favorites, but on wood, you just can't beat a wax finish, whether it's regular wax or Canuba wax or walrus oil. The walrus oil is just an outstanding looking finish. But anyway, there you go. There's your final product, the perpetual calendar. So really fun project to do. I hope you liked it, and I hope you'll download it and make it yourself.
All right, so there you go. That's the whole process. I know the video was a little bit long today, but let's take a look at the final products. I'm going to put some pictures up now because you can see it better in the pictures. So this is the first clock that I did with a background on it that I created. And I love the natural look of the wood, the little things that come out in the grain of the wood. I think it really gives it a nice, really nice look. And that pattern was very, very simple to make right there. It's just a matter of making one square pattern and then duplicating it and duplicating it again. By the way, this one is finished in a walrus oil wax, and I'll tell you, that is a really beautiful finish, the walrus oil. It's hard to say. So the next one that I have here is done in a beeswax, and the difference between the walrus oil and the beeswax is that The walrus oil doesn't change the color of the wood. The beeswax gives it a slightly darker look. So depending on what you like. And this one was just another pattern that I did with a fleur-de-lis. My wife likes fleur-de-lis, so this one is going to go in our kitchen. And then the last one is just a saying. And look how really beautiful that wood looks, the way it brings out the grain in it. And this is just very inexpensive plywood. So it is a Baltic birch plywood. And I got to tell you that this is really a fun project to do. And I had a lot of fun doing this. And I got the idea to do this because someone sent me a file and they said, I've got this file and it doesn't work. I've cut it out 3 times already, and when I put it together, it doesn't work. Well, the whole trick to this is having that different size wood. So on this one here, all of this is 3mm wood. Everything that you see here, except for this. And this is 2mm wood. And that's what gives it the ability to turn inside this 3mm slot. So not only is it 2mm wood, but I've made it a little bit smaller, and all of the files that you get online, all you do is cut it out, and then you're supposed to use them together just the way it's cut. And the kerf is supposed to give it enough room to move. Well, it doesn't. So I actually shrunk these down, the height of these down, so that they fit perfectly in the slot, and they actually move without any resistance whatsoever. You can see they're spinning on their own inside there. So that's the key, is having the 2 different size woods and shrinking down the width of the actual circle itself. And if you don't do that, it's not going to work. So that is the whole problem with the files that you're going to get online. And I went and I looked at several different files that are on Etsy and in a couple of the graphic stores, and I looked at the comments below them, and sure enough, in almost every one it says, I can't get the dials to move, or a comment, something similar to that. And I can tell you that these dials move perfectly. So when you're buying a file off of Etsy, and I get lots of people that send me emails and they say, can you help me fix this file? No, because it's not designed by somebody who knows laser engraving, who knows laser cutting. And when you get a file that's not designed for a laser, it's not going to work on a laser, and it has to be completely redesigned from the ground up. So, I get tons and tons of emails every day, and I got to tell you that, it's almost impossible for me to keep up with them. And if you're on my forum and you're sending email from the forum, well, I literally get hundreds, 400, 500, 600 emails to that email address every day. So I don't even look at that one, rich@lahobbyguy.com. So if you're trying to contact me through the forum, you can pretty much forget about it. I don't even read those. I get so much spam from there. So yeah, that's about it. That's the whole file. I hope you enjoyed the video today. I hope you enjoy this file. This file will be available in my online store, engraveandcutfiles.com. I'm going to price it below everybody else's, even though it's the only one that works. And you can get this file for $1.98 or $1.99. I'm not sure how much I priced it at. Anyway, it's over on my store, engraveandcutfiles.com, and you can pick it up today for $1.99. Make as many of these as you want. Bring them to craft shows, sell them. Everybody that sees it absolutely loves it. I think you will too. So, as always, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.